Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Planners on Purpose podcast. I trust wherever you are, you're doing fantastic today. For those of you that do not know me, I am Naomi Tucker. I am a productivity, burnout, and leadership coach, and I coach ambitious leaders in the event planning space to build effective time-saving and leadership strategies so that they can manage their many commitments and love the lives they live. I empower them to be a planner on purpose. Now, to live on purpose means to intentionally develop self-mastery, to be confident in the visions and the goals that you have set for your life, and to be a force and moving forward to keep it. That is a planner on purpose. This podcast is all about highlighting those intentional steps that we take in our lives, stories of other event professionals, and I'm hoping it will give you some strategies to help you on your self-discovery journey. So a little bit of everything. I'm happy to have you here for this episode. So, what are we talking about in this episode? Today we're going to talk about digging deep into staying focused on your goals, because creating your goals are pretty easy, but staying focused on your goal, that, my friends, is where the hard work comes in. We're here at the top of the year still yet. We haven't hit February, and what happens usually around this time is that we're doing lots of goal setting. We're creating our goals. We're maybe even doing a vision board. Shout out to those of you that are participating in the vision board email challenge that we have going out there. But these are certain things that we do at the top of the year in order to really reset our perspective, reflect on how things went last year, and to really take intentional steps about how we're choosing to move forward in the new year. But as everybody knows, once you start moving forward, things pop up. You might get a different project you weren't expecting. You might get a promotion. You might end up not having a position. But what happens to those goals? And how do you stay focused on your goals? That's what this episode is going to be all about. I want to share with you just a time in my life where I was super driven in meeting my goals. I remember I was on the board of directors as a president for the MPI Wisconsin chapter. Shout out to Wisconsin and all of my friends at that chapter. I was so excited to start. I was just really excited. I was anxious. It was something different and new that I had committed myself to. I had just one goal in mind, really. It was to do a good job, to make my chapter proud, to meet all of the marks that we had set out as a chapter to meet. And really, my number one goal was to not mess it all up, right? I didn't want to mess anything up. So as you may understand, I was pretty driven to meet my goal. But there were just some things that helped me do that along the way. I did not do that alone. And there were certain tools and certain people that were there to be able to help me to stay focused, stay ignited about the purpose that I was there to do. And still, even to this day, the items that I'm going to share with you really help me. They help me continue to keep my focus in anything that I do. So I want to share those with you today. There are about 6 items that I'm going to share. And if you have, a pen and paper, I just want you to write these down because they're going to be so fantastic in helping you stick to your guns and stick to your goals for this year. Are you ready? Okay. My first tip is find your drive. Find your drive. Why? Because it can be hard going after a goal when you aren't really ready to get anything started. And I know that this has happened to me sometimes in my past where I had a particular goal that I set out for myself to do, but I was not ignited about it. There was something about it that just did not make me happy at all. And you know what happens? When you aren't driven to actually meet a goal, you probably are going to what? You're probably not going to make that goal. Right? So find your drive. And so how that really occurred and happened for me, especially in this situation where I was now taking on being the president of this chapter, is really understanding what are the goals that are there and how can I help contribute to those goals to make them happen, and who is everyone that's going to be involved in making this happen. So in that discovery, really unpacking things and tweaking and changing and adjusting goals so that they really feel good to me, I found my drive. And that is really what fueled my whole journey on that chapter while I was president. So I would just suggest to you for you to find your drive. If you are really trying to figure out, oh my gosh, I don't even know what my goals are for the year. I can't even get into it this year, or I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens. Well, if you have those attitudes about it, you probably aren't going to get as far as you would like. So let's just switch the perspective and really dig a little deeper, do a little focus work on what you actually want to set out to do, how you're going to do that. Formulate those out, and then that is going to help you get excited about what you are seeking to do. So that's number one, would be find your drive. Number two, it was super important, and I talk about this a lot, for me to seek out accountability. I talk about accountability a lot. I recently went back to some of my blog posts and I just realized that I love to talk about accountability. Why? Because it's worked so well for me. It's always great to go on a journey with other people, whether they are helping you with your goal or whether they are just partners that are checking in on you. It is such a relief to feel as though you're not doing it alone. So if you do have your goals that you're really excited about, I just suggest that you share those with a partner, share those with a friend, share them with a colleague, and really set out some time to reconnect with them every once in a while so that they can just hold you accountable and say, hey, how's it going with your business? Or, what happened with that event you were supposed to plan? How did that go? And allow them to seek out that within you, and you will find that you feel so much better that people get you, they understand what you're working towards, and they really are genuinely there to help you meet your goal. So that would be my number two, which is seek out accountability. Now, you can do that in the form of one person, or you can have an accountability team. I think I've shared on a previous episode that I have a couple of accountability teams, but sometimes a good group of 3 or 4 people is a really nice group to get together every month, bi-weekly, to reconnect and see how everyone is doing. So again, if you don't have someone to hold you accountable, definitely I would ask for you to make that a point to do this year. Number 3, write it out. Now, this is huge. It may seem very simple, But writing things on paper really gives yourself another commitment. It's like that commitment to yourself that you're going to be doing this. It's now out of the realm of your mind and the realm of thought, and now it's in the physical, right? It's here, it's on a piece of paper, it's tangible. I can look at it, I can see that ink going across the paper that is telling me that I am committing to that goal. So writing it out is super important. And as I was preparing for being the president of the MPI Wisconsin chapter, or any of the roles that I had on that chapter, it was really important for me to understand, hey, well, what are my goals? And what is the journey that I have to take in order to make this happen? And then writing it down in my notebook, putting it in my digital planner. I love to use OneNote, putting it in my OneNote, adding different tasks and deadlines is awesome. And that is what I would encourage you to do. So it's very important for you to actually write it out. Another reason why writing it out is so important is because it allows you to be able to see what might need to be changed. Because sometimes we can think about things and conceptualize things in our mind, but when you write it down, it sometimes doesn't really flow as well as it did when you were thinking about it. Have you ever had that happen to you? I know. So writing it down is really helpful because it does allow you to add detail, or allows your mind to really think about the next step past the thought that you had. So again, writing it out is very important and a very good way for you to stay focused and help you stay focused on your goals. Number 4, measure it, okay? Measure it with deadlines, measure it with milestones, measure it with celebrations. Measuring it certainly helps. I love when I am doing a walk run. Typically, I am more walking than running. But if I'm doing a 5K or something like that, right? Trying to stay fit out here. I love it when you have little milestones. So you have a starting milestone, you're all excited, you have that drive, you want to run that race, and you have people around you to help you stay accountable to that race. And then there's the start. And as soon as you're ready to start, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing this, right? I'm actually running, I'm actually walking, I'm doing my thing. The fun thing is seeing that first mile, the little mile marker that says, hey, you're almost here. You're almost here to that mile marker. And for some reason, that just helps me kind of put a little pep in my step and get to that mile marker. Well, that's what measuring it with deadlines and milestones really does for your goals. It gives you just some type of a solid checkpoint for you to see, for you to be able to say, oh my gosh, okay, I need to do this because I'm almost to this checkpoint. And it just really helps you to be able to measure the road to your success and how far you have to go. And so I would just say measure your goal with milestones, put deadlines in there. If you have a midway point of a goal, put a midway point of your goal. If you're looking to finish the race, do a little celebration every single mile. As long as you're making it fun and as long as you're making it easy for yourself, it's super helpful for you to measure your route in getting to that goal. So I find that very, very helpful and important, and definitely something that you should take into consideration when focusing on your goals. Number 5 is to do goal sprints. And I just made this up. I made this up because it's just super helpful for me to think of my goals in little sprints. Because sometimes I find that when I'm making a goal, you will find that there are certain parts of you moving towards that goal that are faster than others. For example, again, when I'm talking about a race, I find that I'm probably, really quick when I first start a race. There's certain low-hanging fruit, certain things that I can start right away. And those things you want to get done really quickly. And I call them little goal sprints. There are really quick wins that you can take in order to get to your goal. So I would ask of you to focus on your goal is to identify what those little goal sprints are. What are they? They're just quick things, quick wins that you can do in order to really progress your way forward. So the idea is identify what those are and then obviously get them done, do them. Their goal sprints can be those quick phone calls to a friend that you can make to ask them to be an accountability partner. Maybe you want to partner with someone on a business idea and you already know who that person is. It's such easy as picking up the phone and calling them, and you know that it's going to go really well when you call them. Well, why not just pick up the phone and make it happen, right? So these are the little goal sprints. There are areas in your goals that are going to take you a quick amount of time, and some of them that are going to be a little bit of a journey. So find those quick wins and do those goal sprints and have them help you keep you motivated and focused in order to meet your goals. All right. The last one is midpoint checks. Do midpoint checks to make sure that you are pacing towards all the goals that you set. Sometimes it's not just one thing that we're trying to do in a given year. Many times you have lots of different goals, lots of different visions for your life. You could have lots of different tasks that you have to do for your work and for your business. In your personal world, maybe you want to have a goal of reading 30 books, and maybe you want to drop a little bit of weight, and maybe you just want to have really great date nights with your spouse or significant other. So those things you want to make sure that you just check in with yourself. And I like to do this maybe around July, August as a midpoint check. It's midpoint through the year. It's in summer. It's a nice time for you to just reflect on, hey, well, how am I doing this year? Of those items that I said I wanted to do, how am I doing? And you could think of it as a way to reset and to kind of reignite yourself and reignite those goals so that you can start the second half of the year with a really good pace. It's also important during that time to probably go back to number 5 and identify some goal sprints, because most likely you've probably fallen off a little bit, or there's some areas where you can get a little bit more traction. So identifying just some quick goal sprints that you can do after your midpoint check are very helpful. And you'll find that that is really going to allow you to really complete everything that you need to do much quicker. We have reached the end of the list that I had for you. And these are all things, like I mentioned, really help me stay focused to meet my goals. I have used these not only in my past with, working with the MPI chapter, but I've just identified these as really good areas to focus on in order to make sure that I am doing what I need to do and I am successful at doing it. So I really hope that they were really great for you and that you can take some of these and try them out this year so that you are going to just blossom and see how this is working and how successful this is making you in your life. Just to review, we talked about a few things today, and mainly it was how to stay focused on your goals. So the tips that I have, and I'm going to repeat them again, there were 6 tips. It's find your drive, seek out accountability, write it out, measure it with deadlines and milestones, do goal sprints, and midpoint checks. I would just love it if you would give these a try. And when you do, definitely let me know. I would be so happy to hear how it went for you. Now, before I leave you, you may think, hey, this is going to be great, but maybe I need some tools in order to help me. I just want to invite you to check out the Planner Power Up Kit. This Planner Power Up Kit is such a really great resource for you. You can go to the website on plannersonpurpose.com/planner power up. And this kit is available to you, and it gives you a small mini course on productivity challenge. Look at those video lessons and get tips on how to be more productive for this year. It also includes daily, weekly, and monthly planner sheets that are just designed to amplify you and your productivity. It has a time management matrix so that you can plan out your priorities, and also comes with little bonuses too. So check that out if you feel like you need a little bit of an extra boost for this year and staying focused on your goal. The Planner Power Up Kit is exactly what you need. Well, that is it for today. I really appreciate you being here. I cannot wait to see you on another episode of the Planners on Purpose podcast. And until next time, stay purposed.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.